It's MaryLee Trettenero, Boston Intuitive. Welcome to my tarot classroom where we make learning the tarot fun and interesting. And, okay, hold on just 1 second. It's telling me to close some windows. All right, so I'm afraid. I'm afraid to do anything here. Okay, I'll do that. All right, I think that closed the window. So tonight we're going to be talking about the hero's journey through the major arcana. And this is the second of, it's probably going to be 5 programs instead of 4. And we're going to briefly review what the hero's journey is. We're going to talk about what came up in the first program, just as a review. And then I'm going to be going into the Hierophant, the Lovers, the Chariot, and then the Strength card. So those are the ones that we're going to be covering tonight. So hello, Lisa and Zoe and Jacqueline and Estrella. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started here. Again, my name is MaryLee Trettenero. I'm a professional psychic and intuitive in Boston. I do pet readings, intuitive tarot readings, and also mediumship readings. And you can go to my website and book a session with me. There's a link up in the corner. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and Instagram. So you can also check me out on those different social media platforms. All of these programs are archived on my Boston Intuitive page. So if you are interested in, the content in these programs, you are welcome to just sift through all of the different programs I have on there. I have been saying that I'm going to have my YouTube channel is kind of semi-up. It's not where I want it to be. I'm going to be editing down the programs from the series I've done here and just to the content and not to the mini readings that I do in the second half of the program. So that's to come. So just a little bit for people who are new to this program, for you to know how I've got this organized. The first half of the program, we have a spiritual topic. We've been covering the tarot for a couple of months. The second half of the program, I do mini readings. And tonight I will be using the Rider-Waite deck again, my favorite. And we use the chat box pretty extensively in the first part of the program. So if you have a personal question, you have to wait until the second half of the program. And in addition to that, you really have to time it correctly because I don't get to everybody, though I would love to get to everybody and be able to answer everybody's questions. I do have time constraints. So if you want a reading, you're going to have to, I would advise you to tune in to the spiritual part of the program just so that you get a good chance to get the personal reading afterwards. So as I said, I use the chat box in the beginning. If for some reason you put your personal question in the first half, I won't be able to get to that. And I won't be able to go back because of the way Facebook is. It goes off my page, but I can't sort through all the different comments. So when I say go, you can put your personal question in. And I convert the chat box then to doing questions. Every so often I'll be stopping to do a little mini commercial so that if anybody is stopping by that they know where we're at and they have some instructions. It is also part of my responsibility to control phishing. And, you know, you guys are so great helping me out with that. And we, you know, sometimes we have trouble and sometimes it's just they don't show up. So we're doing pretty good tonight. It looks like we're kind of clean here. I don't want to jinx myself though. So let me just say hello to a few people here. Hello, Janet. Hello, Venetia. Lauren. Oh, Desiree from Brooklyn. Rhonda and Shanice. Hello, my friend. Rachel and Gina. All right. So, all right. When it comes to the fishing, just these are people that are in the chat box that are not here for the program. So, you know, it's best just to, if you're solicited, just to either ignore it or delete it and chase them away, whatever you'd like to do there. So, let's see. I think I've covered this. In the second half, I do mini readings. I try to get to as many people as I can. And but it's a question that I can answer in 2 minutes. So not to ask me a question that's really an expanded topic. And also, if it's personal, just do be aware that all these people are going to be listening in. So if you ask me a question and you want me to be honest about the answer, just, and I don't know why I'm saying that tonight. Maybe I'm saying it because intuitively I know somebody's going to ask me something maybe a little more personal than usual. Okay, so that is the beginning here. Hi, Randy. And I just want to, we're doing the soul's journey through the major arcana. The soul's journey is equal to the fool's journey, and it's all the hero's journey. The hero's journey is, it's actually any one of us. It's from the beginning of life to our last breath. It's our souls going from ignorance or innocence to enlightenment. And it's following our calling, and it's uncovering why you're here on the planet. So what we do with the major arcana is that we go through the major arcana in consecutive order. And we have the Fool encountering each of the different major arcana cards. And you can think of the Fool as sort of like a protagonist. And so, and all of the major arcana cards are archetypes. Now, in the very beginning, the Fool is encountering mentors. So we covered 2 weeks ago, we covered the Magician, High Priestess, Empress, and the Emperor. And I actually have 2 more that are in that particular stage of the Fool's journey, which is childhood. And so also part of the childhood stage is the Hierophant and the Lovers. So I have 2 from that and 2 from the next stage, which is the development of the personality. Now, why should you bother to learn about the hero's journey? Well, for one thing, you know, as I said, it's all of our journey. It's our souls, you know, what we go through, which is kind of a universal set of life experiences that all humans go through during their lifetimes. And so when you're giving a reading or doing a reading for yourself, it gives added depth to the reading because it helps you know where there's the human's journey and then there's the spiritual journey, the soul's journey, which the soul's journey is really why we're here on this planet. So when you're reading the hero's journey, it just gives you a lot of depth to the reading, which brings me to this topic that I wanted to talk about: new decks and decks that are other than the Rider-Waite deck. So the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot is the deck that we use all the time. And it is the most popular tarot deck of all time. And this one was developed in, I think it was 1909. And a lot of other decks subsequently are based on the Rider-Waite Tarot. So, well, okay, so I was talking about there are hundreds of decks that are being produced. And I want to say that the way I look at that is I see people who create tarot decks as artists. And from their own artist's soul, they are creating a tarot deck. Now, it does not necessarily have the format of the 78 cards that the Rider-Waite deck has, but it is also from the soul. So whatever you are drawn to in terms of a tarot deck, you should work with a deck that speaks to you, a deck that calls you. So all of the tarot decks are valid, and the thing is what the Rider-Waite deck has in addition to just the individual cards calling you is that it talks about the soul's journey. Now, other card decks, you know, some are based, like I said, on the Rider-Waite deck, but other decks, the cards are a message all unto themselves. So it's not necessarily telling you anything about where the soul is on the journey, but it is speaking to your soul. But it's talking about maybe something very individual. Whereas for the Rider-Waite deck, it's the whole major arcana that's one entity, and you can be on a soul's journey in individual areas in your life. We've talked about this before, where in your relationships, you might be, let's say, halfway through your soul's journey. In, let's say, home life and family, maybe you're at the very beginning of your soul's journey. When it comes to your career, you might be at the very tail end of the soul's journey. So you have multiple soul journeys going on at the same time, but you have one large one that encompasses your whole life. That's an overview. And then you have these, very individual ones. So, but my point about other tarot decks is I think they're fantastic. I think they're very creative. To me, they're created from the soul, and also it's the right brain. And if you want to use those decks, go with the one that you really feel drawn to. So, all right. So that's my explanation on that. Now, the hero's journey. Oh, let me just say hello. So, hi, Payal, hi, Maria, and hi, Janet. And I think Rick was in here somewhere. Okay, so so on the soul's journey, what's happening is that let's say the hero receives a calling, or hears a calling. And so it's the call to it's a call to adventure. It's also a call to change. And it's also usually your life purpose. And so, there's sort of a universal pattern to everyone in the whole world. All the different countries, all the different cultures, all the different eras, all seem to have a universal pattern. So it's call to adventure. Then usually there's a reluctance to listen to the calling. Then it's and conquering kind of the fear of the unknown. Then we have meeting mentors, where you get wisdom and encouragement from others along the way. Then the first threshold is that you're making a commitment to change. And then you have trials and tribulations and tests that you go through. You have allies and you have enemies. And then it's the soul is going through change. It's confronting change. There are consequences to change. It's a very uneven sort of path. It's all of our lives. Your own personal journey, what it's been like, and probably for most people it's been a roller coaster ride. But there's fits and starts, and you learn something, and you mature, and personality development. There's transformation, and then the ultimate goal of the hero's journey is wholeness. So it's going from going from, I guess, unwhole to wholeness. And so the ultimate goal is like a rebirth. And then you go back and you start a whole new journey. So that's basically what we're talking about when we talk about the hero's journey. All right. So we talked about all these things so far. And again, the hero's journey is the oldest story. It is as old as time. It's also what's reflected, like Harry Potter is a whole soul's journey, as are the Star Wars series. Most movies and novels, there is a pattern. There's universal life experiences. All right. And so this program is talking about the unfoldment, the fool's unfoldment. And you can think of the fool as a newborn baby who has no experiences, no life experiences. And so they are full of optimism, full of enthusiasm, are willing to take risks, really willing to take leaps of faith. And then the hero's journey is them encountering mentors and then archetypal life experiences. So, last week we talked about a couple weeks ago we talked about the fool meeting with the magician. And the magician represents self-mastery. And the magician is considered a spiritual parent. The magician and the High Priestess are considered spiritual parents, whereas the Empress and the Emperor are considered like material world parents. So when the fool encounters the magician is teaching the fool, the soul, about all these tools, how to solve life problems. The magician is can figure anything out. You have one arm, one hand that's going to what's above, the divine, and you have one hand who is pointing to the ground, and this is, earth, the earthly world. So as above, so below is what his two arms pointing in different directions, that's what it represents. So the hero also, the magician, he is, so he's gained mastery. This is over the mind. And he has control of his inner world. So the fool doesn't have control over the external circumstances, but the magician teaches him how to manage his emotions, his intellect, his physicality. So the magician helps him manage his inner resources. What he teaches and what the Golden Dawn, which is kind of the basis of this deck, their primary premise is that you have complete control of your inner life experience. And once you do, you have control over your life. The magician is also the divine motive in man, the as above, so below. It's also the lemniscate, which is that eternity symbol over his head. Lemniscate, the eternity image over his head. That is the eternal, represents eternal flow of energy. And all right, so that is, again, basically he has self-mastery. So when you are doing a reading for yourself or someone else and the magician comes up, you know that this represents self-mastery, and that this magician is going to use all of the tools available to him to solve problems. This also, the magician takes action. So he, unlike the High Priestess who comes next, the High Priestess, she doesn't necessarily take action. She waits, she uses her intuition. And she uses, she gets insights about, the meaning of events. She gets insights about other people. You can see she's got that, it's like a scroll underneath her garment there. And that's, it's secret knowledge, but it's also, it represents, it's like your life. That's all, it's all, I want to say it's almost like the Akashic Records. Everything about your life is written in that scroll. But, it's something that you intuit. It's not something that can be read. She exists in a world that has no words, because it's all instinctual. Now, when you get the High Priestess, what she represents is personal authenticity. So we have the magician is self-mastery. The High Priestess is personal authenticity. Who are you really? Who do you want? Who do you want to become? What is your unique identity? So that's what she represents. She's also considered the highest and the holiest of all the major arcana cards. Now remember, again, she's a mentor. And she infuses everything with spiritual meaning. So she can help you access your own higher self, your deeper wisdom. Okay, so she operates in the world of intuition. Okay, excuse me just a moment. Let's see what people are saying here. Thank you, Payal. We have over our inner line. Yes. Magician in the high. Oh, that's good. So Shanice picked both of those cards last night. So spiritual parenting, self-mastery, and personal authenticity. Now then we have the Empress. I promise I'm not going to belabor this too much because we went over this already, but I just wanted to reinforce these mentors. So then we have the Empress and the Emperor. And these two, whereas the Magician and the High Priestess are spiritual parents, these are your material world parents. So when these show up, like the Empress, she represents Mother Nature. She represents humanity. So, you know, when I say Mother Nature, I mean the wind, the rain, the earth, everything, the crickets. You know, she also sound, you know, like but the sound of nature, not man-made sounds, the sound of nature. Now she is human, and she is sort of the gateway. When she gives birth, that the soul comes to life. So she's the gateway. Now she's also wildly creative, so you can always see this as sort of ultimate creativity. And she is, she nourishes all. You can think of her as, you know, Earth Mother. All right. And she's kind of like the universal mother, whereas the Emperor is considered sort of the human material world father. And she again is instinctive and psychic, and the Emperor is more about structure. So how things are organized in the world, it's orderliness. It's like our personal routines and habits. So, and also authority, executive ability. So when the Emperor shows up, it's talking about structure. It may talk, I mean, there's a lot of things that it can mean, but it can also mean, you know, paternal, something paternal. But so on the soul's journey, the Emperor talks about order and structure and authority, and the Empress talks about nurturing and what's nourishing and nature and creativity. You know, when you just look at her, she just looks abundant. She also does introduce love, but it also kind of comes a little bit later. So excuse me a second, I've got a little person here who wants to say hello, who has to be here for every session. Okay. All right, so now those are the ones that we covered the first week. And these are part of, there's 4 stages that you can divide the major arcana in when it comes to the soul's journey. Payal says hi to you, Joy. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to answer questions as I'm going along here. Lisa Pearl wants to know, what about if they are in reverse? Is it just basically the opposite of the upright meeting? Lisa, not everybody reads reverse cards, but if you do, it's like you have to set that intention when you are reading that you're going to read the cards if they come in reverse. And you are right, it is the opposite of what the upright meaning is. It also means things will happen, but they've slowed down. So you'll get the same thing as the upright, only it takes more time. So everybody's saying hi to you, little Joy. Okay, so I'm kind of up to date with all of you. So the first stage is childhood, helpers, and mentors. The last two cards that go with that, and I want to preface this by saying this is the first card where there's more than one person in the card, or so here you have the Hierophant, who's got these two, we'll call them students. And if you look at in the center between the two students, there's keys that are crossed. And those are the keys to the kingdom of heaven. So that's enlightenment. So, so that's part of the journey. And, excuse me, let me find my notes. Okay, so this card represents education. And the word Hierophant means one who teaches holy things. So this card represents the awakening of consciousness. Now let me just jump back here for a second and tell you what the Fool is consciousness awakened, and the Magician has gained mastery over consciousness, mastery over the soul, of the self, excuse me. The Hierophant is represents the awakening of consciousness, the education of the hero, what he or she is going to encounter in the outside world. So the Hierophant, when the Fool encounters the Hierophant explains good and evil and the concept of God. So the Hierophant is an educator, and he's sort of a guide to the outside world. Now, the Hierophant also teaches moral code. Now, this thing I found absolutely fascinating. Get my little puppy out of the way. So look at his two hands. And if you look at, he's got a scepter in one hand. And in the other hand, he's got two fingers raised, two fingers bent. Let's see if I could do it. Two fingers raised, two fingers bent. So when it comes to like knowledge, this is what is visible knowledge, and these bent fingers represent what's concealed. And what's important in life is you need to pay attention to both, the seen and the unseen. So that's what the Hierophant is mentoring. And so that's the Hierophant. Now, when I am looking, when I use the Hierophant card, I often see them as a religious figure, sort of like a religious educator. they're usually more traditional. When the Fool encounters the Hierophant, he's being mentored on things that are holy. Again, awakening of consciousness. Okay. Now the next card that is in the childhood, the last of the childhood, I'll say, helpers, life events, is the Lover's card. And the concept for lovers is that the union of the lovers is the ultimate source of life, of all life. It's the union of the lovers is the most potent force in the universe, and which is love. Now, I'm going to zoom in here on, see how the angel, which is Raphael, so you learn new things all the time. Raphael is the angel for lovers, the archangel of lovers. It's also the archangel of healing. And so love, in all its different forms, is healing. Now you can see the angel Raphael's hair looks like it's on fire, and the wings even look like it's on fire. So what that represents is fire, passion, sexual desire. And so when individuals are engaged in the act of love, it can be very fiery and passionate. And the sun also, love can be very sun-like. So, this card, when it shows up, it represents, to the soul, to the Fool, it is the expression of love. It's in the encounter, the education, about love. And it does, according to the Rider-Waite deck, this is kind of the biblical Adam and Eve, and this is before, she takes the bite of the apple. It represents, the heart wants what the heart wants. Okay. All right. Now, another meaning for this card is that it means it's choice, that things could go either way. And, in terms of, the most wonderful experience in life is actually, to have choice. The most intense happiness that you can have is love. This is also, in terms of choice, making a decision from one's free will. And it also, you could use the expression from the bottom of my heart, with this card. So when the Fool encounters the lovers, she is learning about love in all its different forms. It's not only sexual love or lust or sexual desire. It's all different kinds of love. It's pure love. So family love, it's parental love, it's love between friends. It's the emotion of love. So when you think about it for a moment, when this shows up when you're reading somebody's cards, kind of gives you pause, because now you're thinking about sort of the whole concept of love, and how it is impacting that person that you're reading. All right. Okay, also, I want to talk about this because it is the union of these two. It can also represent the soul, where the soul is on the journey, is leaving the security of the parent's home and going towards union. Okay, so that's that, the Lovers. And then finally, let's see where we are. Okay, we have, no, actually, this isn't finally. The second to last is the Chariot. So where are we? Here's the Chariot. Now, for some reason, I really love this card, and it could be the colors. And this card represents the second stage in the soul's development. This is maturity, individuation, and also the development of the personality. So here we have, somewhere we have the Fool encounters the Chariot. And the Chariot also has kind of a as above, so below. It's got the celestial stars in the canopy and also on his crown. But then if you look at his breastplate there's a square, and that represents the four elements. That represents the material world. So the overall meaning of the Chariot card is actually duality. So you have the two sphinxes there that are black and white. And so it represents this is the soul understanding duality. That we're all born into duality. So like masculine and feminine. You might not understand masculine if you didn't know about feminine. The difference between the two. The duality of good and evil. Duality of devil and God. Could be death and life. So somehow, the person you're reading, their soul is dealing with the concept of duality. Now, I'll also say, to me, this is a card of momentum. And so this is the soul pulling out all the stops, and wanting to experience life, wanting to go out and have experiences. Okay. So it's being aware of a thing and its opposite. So I love this card. I think I love the colors, the blue and the yellow. So I'm just going to stop for a second and say hello. Hi, Maria, and hi, Vladimir. Okay, we have one more card in this stage. We're halfway. We'll only do half this stage tonight. Oh, wait a minute. Excuse me. Let me continue with the Chariot for a minute. When we are aware of duality, we're let's see, when we're aware of duality, we are aware of what our own strengths are and our weaknesses are. And we become conscious of this sort of polarized world, where there's something and then there's its opposite. And somehow the consciousness, our consciousness, becomes awakened by knowing, this, good and evil, feminine, masculine, powerlessness, this one thing and its opposite. Also, when you have the Chariot, we're still at the beginning stages. This soul is also inexperienced. So it's important that the soul is tempering its enthusiasm and not feeling so, not overestimating what their ability is or what they know. And you know, when kids are growing up, you can't, sometimes you can't tell them anything. They have to learn for themselves, or they have to learn the hard way. So this card could also represent someone who looks like an adult on the outside, but on the inside they're still a child. Okay, so optimism, action, becoming an adult, and accomplishing great things. So that's the Chariot. The last one we're talking about tonight is the Strength card. So strength is what the hero needs in order to accomplish its desires. It's self-discipline. Now, there's different types of strength, and we've talked about this before. Emotional strength, emotional intelligence. There's also intellectual strength, physical strength. So there's different different things that get strengthened. Now, the lion represents animal nature, our animal nature. And the woman is like a civilized woman, taming the animal nature. So the animal instinct is wild and passionate and maybe aggressive at times, impulsive, instinctive. So this is when the soul is encountering the Strength card. The soul, the fool, is learning about, it's another form of self-mastery. It's strengthening the mind enough, quieting the mind enough that it is overcoming the animal urges. So we have to learn to tame our wild side. Now, in this card, you see there's another lemon skate above her head. And that means eternally, there's always this struggle of the civilized person dealing with animal instinct. So it has a different meaning in this card. In the Magician, it actually has to do with energy, that there's this eternity of energy exchanges. And so here it's the animal side versus the civilized side. Now, the thing about strength is it's also what you do to strengthen yourself. So when the Fool encounters the Strength card, it can be they have been strengthening themselves or there's a need to strengthen themselves. And meditation, contemplation, quieting the mind, thinking things through, that all comes with this card. So it's vitality, it's passion, and it's also represents joy for life. Okay, so those are our 4 cards for tonight. And now, if anybody has any questions, let me know. And if not, we're going to go into card readings. So, hi, Tricia. Get my paperwork off here. I don't have, usually have little photos of different things, cards. I don't have them with me, so I can't really tell you what the, oh, actually I can. Hold on just a minute. Whoops. So next week, what we're going to be talking about is we'll have 4 more cards. So we'll have the Hermit, the Wheel of Fortune, Justice, and the Hanged Man. So this is the set. These finish up the second stage of the soul's journey. Okay, so let me see what we have here. Okay, as usual, you guys are ahead of me here. Okay, alrighty. So I am. Hi. Okay, very good. Great. Okay, so let's see. Lisa says. So Lisa is saying, do you incorporate the Roman numerals at the top of the cards, or does it depend on the type of reading you're doing? Or is it just optional for the reader? It is actually, it's optional for the reader. If you understand numerology, it gives you extra to work with. You know, if you know that a 5 is like instability, if you think of 4 as sort of like a tabletop, so there's, you know, some stability, but not, you know, 10 is absolute stability. 4 would be, well, I'll just think of it as a tabletop. So it just gives you more information to work with. Same thing, you know, like all these cards have an astrological correlation. So each of these major arcana cards, they also, like the Emperor is Aries. And I want to say the Lover's card is Gemini, but I'm not absolutely sure. I know one of the ones we talked about is Gemini, but it is optional. It's up to you what you want to use that's inclusive. I don't want to bog everyone down with all these little details, but I'm putting these, planting seeds, you know, so that when you are reading, you have a little bit extra that you can draw from. But also remember, Rider-Waite deck. It's reading the soul. So, okay, that's that. Let me pull my cards and I'll be right back. Now, I thought I was going to use the Rider-Waite cards, but I think I'm going to use, which is also the Rider-Waite, I'm going to use my Diamond Tarot. So they're the Rider-Waite on the inside, and then this nice border on the outside. So, okay. So our first person here is Jacqueline, I believe. Let me just... So frustrating here with these limits. Okay, so Jacqueline. So you have the 8 of Pentacles. That's kind of a hard work card. So there's something you're being very industrious about. You know what? I feel very breezy, Jacqueline. I feel I'm learning as I go. I just get this nice momentum with you. I just feel like there's a nice flow. So that's for you. Payal. Oh, so here this card came to me upside down, but I don't read upside down cards. My intention when I'm reading to my guides or whoever's helping me is that I don't read upside down cards. So I always reverse cards. I always go with them upright, thinking that intuitively I will get whatever that information was. All right. All right. So the sun, this is optimism. It's also success. It's also a card that represents summer. Now, for you, for some reason, I'm getting make hay while the sun shines. Okay. I also get, Pale, that you are making yourself more important to yourself. And I feel this is an uplifting time of year for you. And I also feel you getting very creative. And I feel like you're going to take something on that you thought that you couldn't. You know, that it was maybe too overwhelming for you. I feel like you're going to take something new on. And I'm going to say also, as I'm hearing this, it may be the least desirable thing that you want to take on. So that's for you. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. That's ready. Maria, how do I deal with lower if I'm picking up on this at this time? How do I deal with lower vibrational energies? Well, I think the only thing that you can do is sort of be aware of your own vibration and know that like energy, like vibrations attract like vibrations. And so if you feel like you're picking up lower vibrations, be aware that it might drain you, it might drag you down, and just stay positive. A real simple way of thinking about vibration is the higher vibration is positivity, the lower vibrations are negativity. And so if you can keep your thoughts and your emotions, you know, high and positive as much as you can, love, then that changes vibration, or that's the best vibration. I don't think you're attracting it in. I think that you're just around some lower vibrational people. I feel like things are going to be okay for you. So I'm not feeling like I don't feel like you have to do a lot of work to raise your vibration. Of course, it's always nice to raise the vibration, you know, but I don't think that there is a reason. I don't feel like that should be a catalyst for it. Vladimir, may I have a card regarding romance? Okay, so you got the King of Cups. This is about emotions. Okay, I get something about flexing your muscles when it comes to emotions and stepping forward. I actually hear emotional fortitude. Now, okay. And I also say I feel like you need to open up. Now, I think Zoe kind of slipped by me there. Okay, it's going a little too fast. Zoe, you got the Queen of Cups. It's emotional. This is a very emotional year for you. And I feel like it's going to stay in the emotional realm. So don't run away from your feelings, also from your fears. I also feel like this is a time to celebrate. There's something about a relationship. There's something about relationship coming up. So just keep your eyes open for that. So I read Zoe. The next person here, I think Shanice was up there. and you slipped off my screen. So Shanice, I'm just going to give you a card. So we have, this is the not trusting card. It's also, feeling like you've been ripped off. That's what this card means. So for you personally, there's something going on. I get that is so not you. I feel like you're doing something that is not you. It's out of character, or I'll even say it's out of harmony or out of sync with who you are. And if you have that feeling, that something you're doing is a little bit off for you, then don't do it. But I just hear this is not you. Something that you're doing, it's not you. Or it just means it's not you. Maybe something's going on with a person and they're putting it on you, but it's not you. Okay. So a couple of different things there. Rhonda, so you have the career woman card, Rhonda. This is the Queen of Pentacles. She's also very grounded and centered and earth-oriented. Pentacles is earth, represents the element of earth. I get you being upset within about something that you have no control over. Okay, so to be aware of taking on other people's craziness. So just be aware. I feel like you're helping somebody, and it might be stirring things up for you. Well, it might be making you a little crazy. Okay, so whoever was before Miho slipped off my screen. I didn't see your name, so what should I know about my romance? Okay, and you just slipped off my screen, Miho. Oh, it's showing conflict. So I feel like this is an important time to stabilize. And I feel like it's good to be near someone rather than not near them. I want to say there's a conflict with your love life, Miho. So you might want to think about that, what that could be. I want to say who you're really looking for. Okay, so then we have Rachel. Rachel, something you're feeling a little disillusioned about. I also feel, the moon card can represent the night, and you might I don't mean night terrors, but you might be having some disturbing dreams or dreams that wake you up. There's something to do with the night in you, the evening. Okay, and I'm going to say energetically take it down a notch during the day. Maybe it's that, that you're not sleeping well or something along those lines. Okay, so whoever was after Rachel, I've got Oksana on my screen. Can I please have a card for your husband? Okay, you have this is the King of Wands, very action-oriented, on the go. This is an entrepreneur card. And I'm going to say your husband needs to be his own person. He's not being his own person right now. So I'm going to say just change that aspect. And I want to say him being who he really is. And so what was that? That was a High Priestess earlier. We talked about personal authenticity. And this is for Rick for the weekend. It's like take a break, get some rest. Don't do anything too overstimulating. That's for you. Zoe. Interesting, and I'm going to watch it. Okay. Great. Aaron Smith, card for love or career, please. So I'm going to say this is for love. Oops. It's saying fast forward. This is all systems are go. So I would put your love life on track. You know, this is a priority. I'm going to say a lot of good things coming to you if you put your best foot forward. Estrella, enjoy tonight's. Good. I'm glad. I hope that was helpful for everybody. It's so interesting. I have to tell you, since I've been doing the hero's journey, my mediumship has gotten a lot better. And it's a very interesting, side effect of studying this. Okay, so Janet Holt. Oh, you've got the Fool card, which is new beginning, consciousness. This is for Venetia. I feel she's got to start all over again. I want to say she's got to start from scratch. And it's a good thing. Don't try to reinvent, start over. Okay, so then we have Gina, love the cards tonight. I'm good. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Aaron said, yeah, okay. Randy, lovers is Gemini. Okay, thank you, Randy. Aaron, chariots is Cancer. Thank you, Aaron. I love the chariots card. I always have. I don't know why. I'm just partial to it. Yes, I thought they were either related to fire, water, earth, air as well. Okay. That's Lisa. Gina, may I have a card, please? At this time, the energy have been pulling me down. Oh, so you got the Hierophant, the educator. This is now. See the colors in this card. Energetically, this is really bright. So let me see what's going on with you. I feel like you've been thinking about making a change, and Gina, I'd go ahead and do it. I feel like you're down, but I think you're doing well. I just feel like you're kind of down. Okay. And then I also get, Gina, you're resenting having to make other people happy. So, accommodating maybe? But anyways, I love this card. The energy in this card looks really great. You're going to do fine. So you'll pull out of this. You'll pull out of the feeling down. Payal, you're so right. Oh, thank you. Would love a card. This is Trisha. Trisha might be new. All right. So Trisha this is feeling like your hands are tied. I'm going to say there's something going on with you, Trisha, where you're feeling imprisoned. And I see, when I see one eyebrow going up, that's somebody that you're being a skeptic about something. And I'm going to use a slogan that is let go and let God. And I feel like somebody around you kind of needs to harass. I mean, that's them. So I would let go of that person. So, in fact, you might be imprisoned by them, the person who needs to harass. Jacqueline, excellent. Great. Thank you, Jacqueline. Carolyn McIntyre would love a card. Okay, so you have nostalgia. This is also a past life card, you know, in terms of the way I read. So for you, friends. This has to do with friends. I get there's an emotional situation with friends. And I want to say go easy on yourself. And I'm going to say there's something you're overthinking. This comes to friendships and I also am hearing give it time. Give everything more time. So that's for you, Carolyn, Maria. You're welcome. You're welcome, Vladimir. You're welcome. Very welcome, Shanice. You're very welcome. Randy. So she must have fell off my screen. Second attempt. Just a message for the week from my guides. You also got the Chariot. Want to say best foot forward, but this is momentum. Remember, this is also duality. This card represents duality. So, the message from your guides. This card is saying you've taken on more than you should. I'm going to say way too much. Okay. And I feel like you love to be busy. I also feel like you love to know what's going on and whatever you can help with. There's so much energy in this card. It's just like it's just going in every direction. So what is ahead is that you may have to lay low and get like a energy reserve set up. But I love that card. There's so much energy coming out of that. That's for you. You know, the message from your guides is just to, you might be overdoing it. Maybe slow down a little bit. Janet, please pull a card. I slipped off the screen. Okay, so for Janet, we have, so you have the Emperor, a lot of major Arcana cards. Okay, so you have the Emperor. And so this is about structure and ordering and authority. Now, so we talked about the soul's journey. You know, there's other meanings. For me, as I look at this card, what I'm getting out of this is almost painful to me when I'm seeing it. And I feel like maybe I'm seeing red, so something's making me really angry. It might be visceral, something, there's something I feel like you're not happy about, Janet. Yeah, there's something that I just feel it's intense and it's hard and it's upsetting. And, you know, sometimes people, what is the Italian thing, I think goes like this. I feel like something like that. There's some kind of vengeance even. And I don't think it's you, but it might be directed at you. So you're fine, they're not. Okay, that's what I get. All right, Janet. Sorry, that wasn't the most uplifting mini reading, but so you've got to let go, is what I'm hearing. Okay, so Rhonda, lots going on in your family. Thank you for the card. Oh, thank you, Rhonda. Thank you. Miho, you're very welcome. Trisha. Trisha, I think I did. We only do one card per person. So I'm pretty sure I did one. If I didn't, let me know. But I'm pretty sure I did one on. Did I? Did I? Maybe I didn't. Okay. Well, In case of my forgetful memory, you get 2. All right, so you have, there you go. Could I have a card on love? And what did she get? The highest love card that there is. Okay, so on here I get self-expression. You loving yourself more is important. I want to say it's your highest priority now. I'll say take on your love life. And I want to say within, get right within when it comes to love. And when it comes to love, Trisha, you're like a force of nature. You need it. And I feel like you're not allowing yourself to really be loved. So that's for you. All right, so Aaron is, how are we doing? Okay, we just have a time for a couple more. Oops. Oh, I am not doing this deliberately, but we have mostly major arcana cards tonight. I'm pulling from my full deck. Love or career card. So you had the dream come true. There's some kind of righting of a wrong. You're righting a wrong that was done to you. Okay, so love or career. This applies to your career. And okay, then I see the eyebrow go up, something about a skeptic. You're skeptical of yourself. See, look at the energy. Okay, so the energy is different coming out of this card than it was coming out of the, when we had the Emperor up here. So, Aaron, what I get here is you are getting ready to make a bigger priority out of yourself. And it's going to help you a lot. And then I also hear self-interest. Okay. You needle yourself. You, Aaron, make yourself not happy. Okay. I feel like you're not happy at your job. And I also want to make that a priority. I don't know what is, the way I actually heard it is high alert. Put yourself on high alert. You are not happy. Okay, so that's for you. Rachel says, you're welcome. She's been having trouble sleeping. And I think that came up. Oksana, thank you. You're welcome. Okay, Aaron Smith. Cool, been waiting a long time. Thank you. Okay. Why do I think Carolyn had a card? Okay. All right. My memory is so bad. Now, you do not have a major arcana card. Now, this card is the Four of Pentacles. And I usually look at this as, well, I'm hearing in my head stubborn. But this is holding on too tight to what you already have, and the universe can't give you new things. And you might be being thrifty or squirreling things away when you don't have to. Okay, I want to say take yourself out, treat yourself well, do something special. You deserve a treat, is what I'm getting, Carolyn. Trisha, you're very welcome. So Gina, Zoe. Okay, you guys. Janet fell off. Okay. Oh, no, she was, okay. All right, okay. So we're going to do one more, Jessica, and health stuff in the cards. Thanks. Not quite, and health stuff in the cards. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean, Jessica. I'll just do. Funny, this is the second one. This is actually also can be health. But as you can see, there's a lot of good energy coming out of this. Okay. I feel like you're getting very intrigued by the physical health. Okay. And I want to say meditation. Okay. Meditate. Okay, I want to straighten my thinking out. I want to calm the thinking down, the monkey mind. So I get you are needing to take care of yourself. So that is going to be it for tonight, everyone. And I'm sorry I'm actually have gone over, but I will be back in 2 weeks, and we will be going into 4 more cards: life experiences, personality development. Individuation is the stage that the soul's journey is in. So have a good week, everybody. A good 2 weeks, 10 days. Yeah, 2 weeks it is. And yeah, I wish you all well and enjoy, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, good night.